Mr. McDonald, members of the McDonald and Simmons family, friends and family all. We gather here today to honor the memory of an exceptional woman, Professor Emerita Hazel Simmons-McDonald, a luminary whose intellect, humility, and humanity graced every institution she touched, and whose influence has shaped generations across the Caribbean. For me, this tribute is deeply personal. I stand here today not only as Director General of the OECS, not only as a former Registrar of the Caribbean Examinations Council, not only as a founding member of the Folk Research Center, but most meaningfully, as a former student of Hazel Simmons, a teacher who believed in us when belief was in short supply. It was the early 1970s. A group of us, the so-called radicals of St. Mary's College, had led a student strike that scandalized the conservative establishment. When the new St. Lucia A-Level College opened, we were deemed too unruly, too outspoken, too dangerous to be included in that bold national experiment. But Hazel Simmons, along with colleagues like Wilkie Larcher and Hilary Modest, stood firm in defense of our right to education. She saw beyond the labels. She saw promise, not threat. She fought for us, argued for our inclusion, and made it clear that youthful dissent need not disqualify one from academic pursuit. That one act of courageous advocacy gave us a second chance, and for many of us it changed the trajectory of our lives. That was the essence of Hazel Simmons-McDonald, a woman of grace and grit, of quiet conviction and unyielding principle. Her journey from a small Caribbean island to the halls of Stanford and the heights of academic leadership is nothing short of remarkable. She held 2 master's degrees and a PhD in applied linguistics from Stanford. But it was not the weight of credentials that defined her. It was the way she carried them, never with pomp, always with purpose. As a scholar, she was fearless in giving voice to what others overlooked. She was a pioneer in bringing Creole, Caribbean Creole languages into the heart of pedagogical practice. At a time when Creole was seen by many as a lesser tongue, Hazel championed its legitimacy. She worked tirelessly to produce Creole literacy texts and help restore dignity to a language that holds the soul of our people. As a creative writer, her words sang with authenticity. In Silk, Cotton and Other Trees and Shabbing and Other Stories books, Hazel offered us the everyday sacred, the unvanished truths of Caribbean life, sometimes tinged with the mystical, but always grounded in the real. She was a faithful steward of the word, whether in the lyrical cadence of a poem or the careful construction of a syllabus. And what a legacy she leaves at the Caribbean Examinations Council. For a decade or more, she led the panels on English language and literature at both CSEC and CAPE levels. As registrar, I was witness to her meticulous scholarship, her fairness in assessment, and her unwavering commitment to educational equity. She served on council, the Board of Governors, SEC and SubSec, always lending her vision to ensure that our examinations reflected Caribbean excellence and cultural authenticity. Yet, beyond the titles and the accomplishments, and there were many, OBE, St. Lucia Cross, Pro Vice Chancellor of the UE Open Campus, what I remember most vividly is the kindness, the humility, the unfailing generosity of spirit. Hazel Simmons-McDonald was a servant leader. She led with listening. She believed that excellence must always be tempered with empathy. She never sought the spotlight, yet it found her because integrity shines. She belonged to us, to St. Lucia, to the Caribbean, to all who believe in the power of education to liberate the human spirit. Hazel's uncle, Harold Simmons, was considered the father of modern St. Lucian arts and culture. In her own right, Hazel carried forward that legacy, not just by blood, but by brilliance. Her life was a symphony of service to language, to literature, to learning. Today we mourn, but we also give thanks for the life she's lived, for the paths she's cleared, for the doors she opened, and for the grace she modeled. And in the spirit of the language she so loved, I say, merci à pile Hazel, ou te a flamme de feu qui clairait toutes ces chemins nous, la vue qui a toujours illuminé la vie nous. Thank you, Hazel. You are a flame lighting all our pathways. Your fire has not gone out, it remains. May we honor your memory by teaching with courage, writing with honesty, leading with compassion, and never forgetting the language of our roots. Rest well, beloved teacher, colleague, mentor, and friend. You give us words, you give us voice, you give us vision. May the ancestors receive you with honor. May the silk cotton tree sway gently over your spirit. Marchez bien. Farewell.